What is up, guys? Dave's Basket here, back with another video. Today we're going to be walking you through the Google experience for iOS. Um, the video I made turned out to be close to half an hour or maybe even longer. So what we're going to do is break it down to a channel where it will be a channel about a Google experience, and I'll try and break it down into short videos where I go over explaining about what the Google experience is, and I go into depth about certain applications and tell you why I use them and how I use them, and how it can benefit you as well. So yeah, without further ado, welcome to the channel, and I hope you enjoy. What is up, dudes? Dave's Basket here, back. It's been a while. Today we're going to be going through the Google experience with the iOS. We're a couple of weeks, months away from iOS 11 and a new product lineup from the WWDC, so that should be quite exciting. But today I want to talk to you guys about what it's like to have a Google experience on an iPhone. You could be someone coming from a Android phone, whether that's like a Samsung or whether it's something like stock pure Android, from like a Nexus or a Pixel. And there are certain things that are just so fluid with Android and so seamless that it just makes everything work so well. I grew up as an iOS boy. Started out with like the iPhone 4. Took me a while, went over to Android, but I didn't have the true Android experience because I had a Samsung, the Galaxy Note 3. That phone was fantastic. I thought that it could do everything. And then someone introduced me to stock Android, and I was like, what is this? It's so simple, it's so plain, but less is more. So cutting a long story short, I really wanted that same sort of simplistic experience on the iPhone. Obviously, we're in a stage now where, you know, the Galaxy S8 has just been announced. And, you know, they're coming out with their own artificial intelligence, you know, their assistant, their own version of their assistant, like Siri, like, you know, like OK Google, called Bix something, I forgot the name. But anyway, and so, you know, companies want you to buy their product and, you know, use their services. So you buy an iPhone, you're using the stock apps for mail, the stock apps for news, the stock apps for music, the stock apps for all these sort of things. And at the end of the day, it's their version of something, right? And the difficulty you have with that is that unless you've got an iPad and a Mac that can also use those products, then, you know, you're not going to get that same seamless experience. And the same goes for Samsung. If you have a Samsung, you know, you'll be using their OS as well. So you'll be using their stock email application, you know, the Samsung apps, whether that's like S Health, for example. You know, iPhone's got their own health app. You know, whether that will be, you know, even like with their watch, their wearables, you'd be using the Gear Watch, and it will work with the Gear apps and that sort of thing. It's very, very, you know, they're quite clamping people down. So if ever you wanted to view that same information on your computer, whether it's a Mac or whether it's a Windows PC, you're going to be in a situation where you're not going to be able to do that, because you have to use your Samsung device in order to see all your things that you save on your Samsung version of the apps. Or you're going to have to use your Mac or your iPad specifically to see all the information you've written in the Notes app, for example, or in the you know, whatever other apps you might have. Like for the Photos app, for example, if you wanted to go online, like anywhere in the world, you know, you wanted to use a computer at your friend's house or use a computer at uni or at school or whatever it might be, you're not going to be able to see your photos or see many other things for that reason, simply because you're going to need to have a Mac and click on the Photos app, and you need to be logged in and your iCloud stuff in order to see all your content. Security, fine, I get that. Whereas Google, on the other hand, have come at this sort of approach from a completely different angle. Because a lot of their applications are web-based, meaning that you can just go on Google Chrome or go on the internet anywhere and just type in, or just log into Google Photos on the website. It will pull up all of your photos that you've saved there and then. You can view that from anywhere in the world. And the same goes for like the Google Calendar. You can access that online on a website anywhere, anytime, across all of your devices, whether that's a Samsung, whether that's an iPhone, whether that's a Nexus. You have access to that information. You've also got access to all of your notes. If you use Google Keep, for example, that's another way. Google Drive, it's web-based, and they also have applications for iOS and for Android. Obviously, Samsung runs on Android. Obviously, there are so many different types of phones that run on Android. LG, HTC, obviously there's stock Pixel, stuff like that. And that's where the beauty of it begins, because if you're someone that's a tech enthusiast and you've got so many different products, you've got an iPhone, you've got a Windows PC, you've got a Mac, you've got an Android tablet, you might be someone that enjoys being able to use those different products. And the only way you're going to be able to have a seamless experience and still have your things linked is, in my opinion, a very efficient way is to use Google, Google-based applications. So, like I said, I came from having an Android, so I've stuck to using Google Calendar. It works perfectly. I'm also a huge fan of the Google Stock app on the on the iPhone. If iPhone and Apple were that way inclined and they made a lot of their things web-based, they've got a web-based portal as well, iCloud.com. You can use that. I use that throughout university. You can log on to that and you can still see all of your notes that you've taken. Fine, fair enough. You can still see all of your contacts and that sort of thing. It's great. But you can't go on an Android phone and download the Apple Notes app, for example. A lot of our parents and things like that have been using that for years, and they're like, I physically cannot change over to an Android phone or change over to anything else for that matter, because all of my notes I've been taking for the last 10 years have been in there and I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to show you guys a way around that. There are so many benefits. I can sit here and have a conversation with you all day about it, but I'm already 7 minutes in.